care of Tiffany. She's amazing. She's amazing. That's such a great family. It's grateful for all of you. You said mom's here and dad. It's great, and I love Tiffany's message about miracles. And it's been really interesting. Kind of my story about how long I've been involved in the campaign, and it's been really neat. Tiffany, she's like, I keep telling her these stories of things that are happening to us, and she's like, you've got to record all your miracles, because there really are, like in this campaign and all things that we've been involved in. We feel like there's a lot of things that are just like the right timing, that exactly this happened. I mean, just one little one there. After a full day on Saturday, we were at events all day long. I pulled into my garage at about 11 o'clock. My kids were at Tiffany's house. I picked my kids up. My little boy's asleep in the back of the car, and I get on just sit in the car, stop, still all dressed up, and I open up my phone and I see Eric Mutzos has a video going. He's like, it looks like Phil might be on here. Phil, if you're on here, you could join us for a live. And I'm looking at my kids in asleep, I text him I'm here, I can talk. So he's like, Natalie's here, this is great. So I run in the house and I go in and I'm able to do a video interview with him. And then Phil jumps on right then. Same thing happened to him. He popped on, and so it was just amazing, so eloquently. She had just left my house. We've been at these things all day, so tired. And then she texted me, or you call me, how do I get on the live? I'm like, accept it, he's going to set it. And then she's like, okay, done. I watch, and she's like, hi, Eric. And just I was like, what in the world? I was tired. I'm not as tired as you, probably. Sorry. Yeah, thank you. That's amazing, because we're on a race against the clock to get the word out about this campaign. And I just really feel like that Heavenly Father's helping. So He helps us all in our own lives, and He helps us with the different things that we're doing. I'm grateful for the miracles that Tiffany's experienced and the miracles that we see helping us in our daily lives. But just a little bit, I'm sure you probably are all familiar with Phil Lyman and his campaign, and what a great person he is. I couldn't be connected to a better person to run for governor. When he reached out to me, Tiffany said we worked in the temple. I was on my way to temple shift, and I saw his name pop up, and because it was before convention, so I thought, this is one of those calls. And then I answered, and oh, hi, Phil. And we talked. I'm in my temple shift. Let me think about it, and I'll get back to you. And I can't remember about that, but oh yeah, how great he is. When he reached out, I'm like, how could you have a better opportunity? I've been involved in being with my sisters and my parents, and being involved in looking at our world around us, and all of you, we can sit back, we can watch it happen, we can complain, or we can jump in, and you guys are jumping in, and you're getting involved in ways that you can. I feel like I've been doing that on different levels, and when he reached out, I'm like, this is just a perfect opportunity to bring all these things together and to run with him. And you've seen him stand up as a leader. You probably know his story about San Juan, how the federal government, their overreach came, and he stood up in a peaceful manner. And we celebrate those people, Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King Jr., who stood up in ways to make a difference. He did the same thing. He was told, this is great, this is fine, you have no problem with it, nothing will happen. And then they ended up prosecuting him for that. And he just continued to stand up. It's crazy what happened. But he didn't back down, which I think is important. And he's standing up, not just representing himself, but everybody else for when the government gets too heavy-handed. And we've seen, in these last couple of years, the government has a heavy hand, and it's getting heavier and heavier. We're seeing federal government pushing down on state government. We're seeing state government push down on county government, and on to city government when they're controlling housing ordinances and making it very difficult it's really causing a lot of problems in our housing market and other things because of these unnecessary regulations that are happening. So we're looking at the big picture. What can we do to restore our fundamental liberties, our freedoms, push back against this unnecessary government control and intervention, and let people live their lives. Let kids in school, let the teachers teach their curriculum without having these cultural wars be pushed into their classes. I talked to a school board member yesterday or 2 days ago and said, tell me your perception on education. And she said, we are seeing these culture wars enter our schools, and we don't feel that we have the confidence from the governor and the AG's office that we can push back against that because we don't know if we're going to be subject to lawsuits. So that's another area where we can stand up and give the system confidence that we support you. We support you. We support the good teachers that want to have good. That we need to teach the basics. We need to go back to our foundational educational principles and teach what really matters. And so I'm super excited about this campaign. We're running against a lot. You're running against an incumbent who has Basically, and they're connected to, for lots of years we've had lieutenant governor become governor, so there's a lot of years that we've had the same kind of group that's been running the show. So we've got a lot, but we have momentum on our side. And if you go online, we've got a support from people. And our biggest obstacle is just getting the word out and telling your friends and neighbors and letting them know this message, we can do better in Utah. There's no reason why we're not standing up. Why during COVID was Utah taking the back seat and we're watching Florida lead out? We have the values here in Utah. We should be leading out on these conservative principles. And so sharing it with people, sharing our social media, that's what we're really working hard on that. Donate to the campaign. You can look at our website. And I brought some shirts and some campaign signs and things like that you can pick on your way out too. Yeah, Helen.
I did listen to your Eric Moses interview. I thought you prepared for hours. You did phenomenally. I would love it if you would share your qualifications with this group. Very educated group, and they would especially love to hear your election experience, because most of them here are incredibly worried about the security of our elections.
Yeah.
So speak to yourself for a moment.
Okay, yeah, thank you. So so background real quick. So I'm political science BYU. I've loved politics since I was little, and always been interested in that. And then I went to law school at BYU and was admitted to the bar. I clerked in the 4th District Court, and at the time, every law clerk who works for the judge, so I was behind the scenes writing holdings and helping him with the legal analysis. Every judge also had the funding, also had a bailiff in the courtroom at the same time. So I worked with him. So I went to police academy so that I could work with him in the courtroom. So I had that experience with some criminal law. I've done some estate planning. My passion right out of law school was religious freedom, and I worked with BYU's International Center for Law and Religious Studies and loved it. I just loved it so much. I worked on conferences, I worked on research and published papers on. It was kind of the post-Soviet Union, and how do we help religious organizations to be registered in these countries and in the former Soviet states. That was my background then. But in the last few years, and then I've got my kids, so that was my priority for a while. But these last few years, I think, like most of you, a lot of you, I got really kind of concerned with elections. And we saw it doesn't really matter. We've seen last few years, it doesn't matter who won. Both parties are can we trust this? We saw it in 2016, then we saw it in 2020. And we're this is creating a very unstable society. We have got to fix some things so that people can trust our elections regardless of who wins. Because if we feel confident that it's transparent, we're okay with it. But that is fundamental to it's sacred. Our vote is sacred and needs to be protected. So I with my sisters too, we had a team of people. We created the Secure Vote Utah. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that. So I was the one who was behind the scenes. I wrote the initiative for that, and it turned into several months. We went through code for months and months and months. It turned into an 80-page document, and basically we wrote the whole code about how can we make this ship so tight that nothing like this is so secure. So we asked for everything. We put it all out there. This is good. This is the real deal. So
400-page code.
Yeah. Well, our document turned to be about 80 pages of the code.
But you read through the 400 pages.
Well, yeah.
So over and over.
So yeah.
No, that's okay.
Well, so anyway, so we focused on that big grassroots effort, tons of support across the state. People were I've been concerned because I had all these ballots sent to my house, or I know my aunt's been voting. I had a family member who's been voting for this deceased relative I just found out. We heard all kinds of stories, and so we got to restore. So at this point, so elections, the lieutenant governor's office is over elections. So the legislature is is responsible for writing the law that and then the executive office enforces that. So it's up to them. Ultimately, there's a lot of things we can do with elections, but we can definitely steer things right now. And there's things that we can do to, for example, when you gather signatures. So I'm out here for 5 more minutes or so.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'm trying to talk fast, but
no, you're good.
Okay.
Take 10 minutes.
Okay, so the election. So right now, you guys are familiar with the convention system, right? So you go through caucus, and then and the SB 54, how people can gather signatures and go straight to pass the whole convention system. Well, when they gather signatures, it's different than when you collect signatures for an initiative, because in both processes, you submit the signatures to the county clerk. They verify it. And with an initiative, then it goes to the lieutenant governor's office, who publishes all the signatures online. And so they're available for people to see. Right now, Governor Cox, if you got these signatures, the county clerks they verified him, went to the LG's office, and then they hold that information and no one has access to it. So you can't ask right now, tell me how many, let me see those 28,000 signatures, we don't have access to it. So you can try to ground it.
So this is a new thing that they're
It's
doing?
No, it's just how it is. It's just lack of transparency. So it's just like, just trust us. Trust that these signature gatherers got their signatures. We're like, okay. I mean, it's one of those. So that's something that definitely should be changed. There is issues about custody, like chain of custody with ballots. You know, what kind of system mails out ballots and then doesn't know where they go, and 3 weeks later pulls them all back in. Like, you always want a chain of custody following all these pieces. That's a concern for people. Not requiring ID. You know, there's a lot of things like that there are, and then you could go on and on about things, but my message, like even when we disappear about Utah, we were not looking backwards and saying this was not. We were not saying that this is not what was it done. Yeah, valid, right? We weren't questioning the election, and that's still my stance right now. I'm not questioning what happened in the past, but I'm saying, going forward, what can we do to make this more transparent for everyone? So regardless of what party wins, everybody is saying, I'm okay, like this is it. This is America, this is what we do. We vote for someone and then we have confidence in it. And I mean, we both helped with the Utah County when they did the convention, and like it was all done on paper ballots. We were the election judges in the back, and like no one.
Poll watchers?
Like we had all kinds of people watching. Like there's nothing that could happen. I mean, it was so. There's so many people who walked away having confidence in the county because they were involved in it and they saw it with their own eyes and things. So anyway, then we did it for years and it worked. But anyway, so that's kind of my background. I've also been involved in. I'm concerned with my schools, and so I'm like I can either homeschool kids or I'm gonna jump in both feet. So I'm on PTA, and then I'm on our school community council. I did that for both my elementary and the middle school, and then I was asked to be our district community council. So I'm like a liaison at the district level. So I was involved with a lot of policy issues with education. So I feel really comfortable. Those are kind of my big issues: elections and education. I feel really good on those, and support Phil on these other issues. Like energy is a big deal for us, and like there's no reason why Utah can't be energy independent. Why you have to. Federal government is another one where they're trying to get you involved in. But you had to face it.
This voting thing that you're working on, is there any chance that's going to be in place by this fall?
A good question. What we did was an initiative 2 years ago. So we had to get a number of votes. We had to have signatures before it went to the ballot. So we didn't get the signatures. So no. So that we don't have. That won't change. But we will, if we get in office, we'll change because I'll be the lieutenant governor, and this is something that matters to me. I know some things that we can do right from the start to make a difference. But yeah, any other questions?
I was going to say, does it have to go through the legislature, or is that something the lieutenant governor can do?
Yeah, well, if it's in code, if we need to rewrite code, legislature need to do it. But you can see the role of the governor has a big role in shaping legislation.
Yeah.
But there are things that we can do that we don't have to wait for the legislature. It doesn't say that in code about that you don't give people access to the signatures. Like you could do that. We could decide.
So that's gone on, kind of a tradition from governor to governor, that's not being crystal clear, giving information.
Yeah, I mean, my understanding since they started the whole SB 54, I don't know if the if it's ever
So it has to be 54.
And mail-in ballots too.
a lot of that. Yeah.
And if you saw, Deidre Henderson just did this whole big video that says it's un-American to ask questions. And she said you should not be questioning elections, you should trust people, it's rude not to trust people, disagree better, right?
And we got that when we filed our initiative too. Like her first tweet was like, there are people out there who don't want you to vote unless you look like them. Like,
Yeah, calling yourself racist.
I'm like, so we just want, we're going to solve the elections concern by becoming more transparent and letting people be engaged in the process and ask questions and not like the strike PR campaign. Because that's what we're seeing out there. It's like,
Billboards.
yeah, don't worry,
Trust elections.
Yeah.
When Herod ran against Curtis,
I'm sorry.
when Herod,
Herod.
he won like 75% of caucus, but then when he went to the election, he won 20.
Right.
And so how do you handle caucus's attitude?
Oh.
That's what's going to happen.
That is
that we're far.
Yeah, that is the key. What she's saying about caucus, we saw that there was a very, very coordinated attack on the caucus system. So even before convention, the night before, Governor Cox was at UVU and already calling us a bunch of extremists and saying like, what kind of, I don't know if you guys saw the video,
Yes.
what kind of people would be like, go to political meetings and like do
On a
all this
random
stuff.
Tuesday night and spend hours talking politics, these are right-wing extremists.
Yeah, right, so.
These are people that care.
And then even during convention, we're watching all these elected officials who are tweeting about it. I went up to one of them, and she's in Salt Lake, and I'm like, hey, look what you put online. Like, look at these people who are here all day long. Like, if I just saw your Twitter, I'd be like, this sounds horrible. She's like, oh, I see what you're saying. So then she came back to me later, and she's like, I deleted one of my tweets. Is that better? I put something else better. Like, yeah, it was good. But it's a coordinated attack against the caucus system. And what if it's gone? It won't survive these 4 years. It won't survive 4 more years under Cox. There's already legislation that's been here that's in the works to try to change it. This election matters because we won't be able to get our candidates in after this point because it will be completely run by big money. Who can pay the money? Can get signatures. I've heard like anywhere like signatures in between $15 and $20 a signature, something extremely expensive. That you're going to get rid of all your grassroots and all your other people. Yeah, me too. If that happens, but. Anyway, yeah.
Well, and Todd Weiler ended up posting that he saw us steal a Heil Hitler sign at convention.
Right.
I mean, how extreme can their lies be? I was sitting by a Vietnam veteran who had served 5 tours, and he looked at me and he goes, they're classifying me as an extremist. It was just offensive.
And everybody has a cell phone in hand because we had to go on our phones, and yet not one person has any video evidence of any of the things they're claiming happening.
Exactly.
I'm like, prove it. You're holding your phone in your hand, and you don't have any video of all the things you're claiming.
Yep.
It was set up before.
Yeah, it definitely was. And it's like we're going off of a different speech, right? It looks like you're really relying on you're reading something up there.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, so but we're grateful for all of your support, and you guys are engaged in everything, and you've been fighting the fight for a long time. You're aware, you know what's happening, and you know how critical it is to stand up and make a difference. So we're grateful for you. We're grateful. I mean, it's fun when we did the Secure Vote. Utah has also involved with the Flag Initiative. It was grateful. I'm grateful to be able to reach out to so many people throughout our state. We have some really awesome people, and we're connecting them all together in this campaign. And I think people realize that this is a chance to really make a difference.
Well, I pray we can get you and Phil in.
It's a big race, yeah. So anything you can do to help spread the word that's our
Angels votes.
I think you're definitely helping us, but yeah, we do.
That's a different kind of man.
You know the red shirt that I'm wearing, the lining shirt, I got one of those, and I wear it to the gym in the mornings. We go around the track, and then we go down to the weight room. Some guy sticks his head out of the weight room and goes, "Yes, I love that shirt." So it makes a difference.
Good, it does.
Yeah, we're
People out there, they're wanting it.
That's right, yeah, you do, yeah.
So Phil came here and I put up the video last week, and immediately YouTube throttled us down to about a third of what we do and we don't put hardly any political stuff. But yeah, it's kind of hard. But I did put the links of Eric Moodso's post that he did about Cox and all, with Jason Preston and in the description, as well as his family talking about what happened and him standing for the land rights, as well as what we filmed here. So Latter-day Media on YouTube, it would help to spread that grassroots because it immediately just took down a third of what our just normal put out is, and
Right.
we're consistent every single week, with stuff that we do.
Yes, that happens, right? That's another one of our big battles. Is that
We'll give a
that's
positive
suppression.
review.
Thank you for sharing that, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think our signs were all taken off 5:15 today, 2:15. But I think it might not. I'm not sure. It might have been all political signs. I'm not sure. But yeah, anything we can do to stand up and share the word. But
Why were political signs taken down?
I just heard ours were taken down, so I'm not sure if it's.
Oh,
We
wow.
were told that we couldn't place them in a certain place by UDOT, and then Cox had his signs the next day in those exact spots. I went down the county too, and I was like, there's so many, and then they keep reporting, like you're saying, anything with Lyman on Facebook and things, and so it's getting suppressed. They report it as harassment or hate speech or something stupid.
Yes.
Just an ad,
But we've got the momentum on our side. Like, things are great. We've got a lot of people. Yeah.
John made jokes one time in one of the temple dedications. He said the phrase, "Ask the Lord to blunt the weapons of the adversary." I love that. I think that's something we should pray for.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
Made the third way.
Thank you.
The big
Major
joke.
facts.
Yes.
That's great. Every prayer is appreciated. That's beautiful.
Is it illegal to take down signs of other?
We don't want to do that.
But so somebody's doing something.
Well, I think it may have been not that. They may have had a policy on that too.
But how could Cox put his up?
Right. They gave him permission,
Oh.
because he owns it.
She's had another political sign.
His biggest donors are far left organizations, I'm sure you guys have seen that. The people who run Planned Parenthood gave him so much money. It's like, the Federalist just did an article about all the money that's being left to organizations going for Spencer Cox. I mean, that speaks.
That speaks volumes.
Yes.
Absolutely. It's a shame.
But it's exciting time though right now because like this is we can all rally together. Yes, I think it's great. Get some people on this.
I just want to put in a testimony for your whole family. I feel like this family has got spiritual power combined with political integrity, and that is so rare in this world. And I just pray that we are going to have angels behind you because we need you really badly.
Thank you, Holly. Thank you. I mean, it's interesting because I actually, I haven't run for office before. So I just kind of, which is pretty cool because I'm not like connected to anything. I haven't been like, I don't owe people anything, I don't anything like that. And Phil, like we've seen him stand alone. So like you got two people in there who are principled and aware, like we've been on the ground, we know what's going on, and we know good ways to solve problems and are ready for the fight.
That's why you don't stand chance.
People are making we've got a lot of support around the state. Like I mean, all night. Like,
Go read the comments on Cox's ads, and then you'll feel really encouraged.
People suck with it. People look at it. They're not happy about it.
And that's exactly why miracles will happen.
Exactly.
Well, Cox wasn't very popular before we saw his policies. I mean, he didn't win with the majority, so we didn't like him much in the beginning.
He did win convention in 2020 though.
He did.
Did he?
Uh-huh. So, and Phil just won, 67% convention in 2024, so. Times are turning.
It's great to be with you.
What part of you, isn't Lyman isn't he in Blanding?
Is it
Are you
I live in Highland.
Oh,
So,
oh, you're
I'm close
here.
by. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So you live in Highland.
So what's your temple?
It was convenient to have a temple closed right now, so it's been helpful for me. I got subs for a couple.
What's your?
I've been Fridays.
Oh, okay.
How did you two become connected?
How do we, through our elections work. So when we did the Secure Vote Utah, and we knew we needed to have 128,000 signatures, which is enormous, and then we worked with him, when we only had 5 weeks when we did it, because of the time we filed and everything, which was incredible. We started with 5 people, and we got over 28,000 signatures in 5 weeks. He knows amazing. We didn't have that grassroots connection at the time. And then, but Phil saw what we were doing, we talked to him about it, and he took a lot of those pieces from our Secure Vote, our initiative. Not all of them, because we really were asking for like pretty major. That was exciting, but we took a lot of it and then ran it as a bill. It was House Bill 371. So we worked together to help testify on that. So that's how we first became acquainted, and then we've been like our family and stuff has known him the last few years a lot and stood with him on his shoes. Like you guys have to.
That's
That's
exciting.
the same things too. But any other questions? No. Yeah.
Where do I get a sign for my
I have some signs right here before you walk out. We have shirts, signs, hats, flags for your choir.
Oh.
Thank you for letting me be here.
Thank you.